I'm going to go over the last problems in chapter 7 here, 18 through 20. They're just the algebra ones. They can be a little confusing, if you don't know what you're doing. So I'll just get you started on them, and then you guys can finish. So we look at 718. They give you this equation, and they say find the values of x that make it true, and then they find the values of alpha that make it true. So it's just practice with the quadratic formula. If we're looking for alpha, we pretend x is a constant. And if we're looking for x, we pretend alpha is just a constant. So let's say we're looking for x. Then alpha would be a, right? So alpha would be a, and whatever's in front of the x would be b. So 2 alpha squared is equal to b, and then c is equal to 1. Now, let's say we're looking for alpha, okay? So this is if we're looking for x. Let's say we're looking for alpha. Then we're going to have an x in our answer. And then, let's see, the alpha squared term, this would be the a, right? Because it's in front of the alpha squared. So a is 2x. So where did I put it a second here? B, whatever. A is whatever's in front of the alpha squared, 2x. B is whatever's in front of the alpha term, which is x squared, and c, again, is just the thing by itself, is 1. I don't know why I put these backwards here, but whatever. Then we just use a quadratic formula. Negative b equals plus or minus square root of b squared minus 2ac. And you're going to have x's in your answer for this one, and you're going to have alphas in your answer for this one, and that's okay. Okay, so it's just a matter of using a quadratic formula. Same as 719. If you look at 719, it says for each of the following, find the values so that the equation has exactly one solution. Okay, if you look at these, they're all quadratic formulas in x squareds, x's, and c's. They all have those. So let's look at c, perhaps. X squared plus x plus alpha equals 0. So x squared plus x plus alpha is equal to 0. Okay, we want to make sure it only has one solution. So the way we solve this thing is quadratic formula. So x is equal to negative b, b is 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, again b is 1, so b squared is 1, minus 4, a is 1, and c is alpha, all over 2a, which is a is 1 is 2. We want this to only have one solution. For this to only have one solution, this is plus or minus gives us 2 solutions. So whatever we're plus or minusing has to be 0. Then there's only one solution, because plus or minus 0 is just 0, and the solution will always be this over this. Okay? So that will be the solution, but we want to find alpha so that there's only one solution. So we got to make what's inside here 0. So to do that, we just say whatever's in the parentheses is equal to 0. So we have 1 minus, looks like 4 alpha. 4 alpha has to be 0 to only have one solution. Let's put the negative 1 over here. 4 alpha, negative 4 alpha is equal to negative 1. Right, put the 1 over here, make it negative. Or alpha is equal to negative 1 over negative 4, which is equal to 1/4. So if alpha is 1/4, it's inside the square root 0, and we have one solution. So really, the trick is for 719 is whatever's inside here, I think they call that the discriminants. I think that's the math word for it. You just need to make sure b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. That's all you got to do for all of them. And find out what values of alpha make that work. Figure out what b is, right? Quadratic formula with the thing times the x. The thing times the x minus 4 times ac is equal to 0. And figure out the alpha that makes that work. So that's all you do for 719. Again, kind of quadratic formula practice, but that's a big thing. The idea for one solution, then the discriminant, square root's got to be 0. Okay, 720 says solve for t, and they just give you some tricky things here. And why? Yeah, the tricky part here is, again, like for a, when you solve for t, you're going to have an s in your answer, and that's okay. Just act like the s is 3 or something. Okay, same as for b. It looks kind of confusing, right? 720b, it says solve for x, and we have y is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 3. Normally when we have a quadratic formula, when we use it, we set this equal to 0, right? And then we go negative b plus or minus. But we have a y there. But that's okay. If we're solving for x, we just treat y as like a constant. So let's put the y on the other side. And I'm going to write it this way then. X squared plus 2x plus 3 minus y is equal to 0. Right? Put the y over here, make it negative 3 minus y. And now we have it like the quadratic formula. And a is equal to 1, right? The thing in the x squared. B is equal to 2. And c is equal to 3 minus y. And then we just use a quadratic formula with c equals 3 minus y. We get a Waldner answer, but that's okay. All right, so they're just trying to get used to using a quadratic formula when you have things that aren't numbers, like alphas and t's and s's or whatever. And that's okay. You just have a letter then in your answer. So you can't get a number out of it, like 0.42. It'll be 0.42 plus y or something. Okay, so that's all. Just you're going to have a letter like y in your answer for the quadratic formula, and that's okay. Okay, that was pretty short and easy. Hope that helped you guys out.